Hello, happy Tuesday. Okay, we are going to do the cornucopia today. I'm not going to do the whole thing on the live. You guys, it is so stormy right now. It is crazy. So if my power goes out, I'm very sorry if we suddenly disconnect. I will try to talk quickly so that we don't get disconnected. Okay, what color? Sorry, I'm still bringing up my pattern. I ate lunch late today, so I am still getting things put together. Okay. I actually have it as this one. You could probably do both. We'll do both. Let me know if you can't hear me over the storm because it's starting to like hit my windows. So all should be well, but let me know if it's not. Okay. We are gonna do, let me just double check. I'm 99.9% sure that the results are still for 3. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's our results. So we're gonna do the basket weave. Whoops, sorry. I said it's not very beginner friendly, but I promise you can do it. It just might take you a little bit longer. So try not to worry too much about it. Lisa, I would love to send you some rain. She's in Arizona and it's still hot. If this gets too loud, let me know and I might have to do a live later. I don't know. It's really coming down. Okay, I'm gonna start with the lighter brown, which is 3862, and then we will weave in the darker, which is 3031. If I close my shutters, if that will block it a little bit, the sound, I don't know, we'll see if that helps. Okay, I'm going to use all 6 strands for a basket weave. Now what we have to do first is some satin stitch. And now my air filter is turning on. I don't know why. I might have to turn that off. It is very loud in here. Hold on, I gotta turn off my air filter. I don't know why it's on, but it's just adding to the noise. Okay. Are we ready? All right, so we're gonna do a satin stitch, but we're gonna kind of modify it a little bit because we're gonna do kind of a modified basket weave. So I'm gonna start down here a little ways, and then you need to decide what direction we want to go. Are you under a warning? No, we don't have kind of those kinds of warnings. We're in Utah. It just storms and then it'll stop. It'll probably last 15 minutes. Okay, so you can keep them all the same direction all the way up, or you can kind of fan them out and have your angle change a little bit, depending. You can do it either way. I'm going to fan mine out a little bit. So what we're gonna do is start with some guides first. And I was thinking I didn't tie a knot, but I did. Okay, so this first angle, I'm gonna go here. I guess we do get storm warnings, but no, I don't know. I don't pay attention to those. I just realized that, yeah, we do get those, but usually it's not as bad as they say it's gonna be. Okay, so I went from here to here, and then I went over to here. if you want to go back to over here, you can and work this way, but I'm just putting in some guides so that I know kind of what direction I want my stitches going and at what point. So I'm just gonna do a few and then I'll start to fill it in. Now, if you're a beginner and this stresses you out, don't do it this way. Like, you can just do it all one direction and it will be totally fine. Like, don't feel like you need to be stressed about it. I'm gonna do the last one over here. On the end, come back to the middle. I have a very long piece of thread. Now, if you're a person, I should mention, if you're a person that normally takes your thread and like divides out your threads so that they, like some people will like pull apart their threads and then put them back together and put them in a needle. Don't do that for a basket weave. If you keep them like twisted together, like how they come off the skein, then you'll have an easier time with your basket weave. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do 2 stitches and then a gap, and then 2 stitches and a gap. So I'm gonna come back to the beginning and do a second stitch right next to this. And then instead of coming up right here where I would put a next stitch, I'm gonna move just over a tiny bit so that we leave just a small gap, not a huge gap. That might even be too much. I think that's good. That's too big. Just like a really small gap. It'll just make it a little bit easier to weave around. I still don't like that spot. I'm being really picky right now. That's better. Just like a really small gap. Like you almost can't see it. Especially with 6 strands, this fills in space really, really, really quickly. So again, I'm gonna do 2 right next to each other and then just leave that tiny bit of a gap. And then we can see where, now we're gonna change our angle just a tiny bit. So there's already kind of a gap. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right there, so we'll go right next to this one. Also, if you're having a hard time pulling your needle through with 6 strands, because where you pull it through your fabric, your 6 strands is doubled over, right? Because you have a tail. So you're actually pulling 12 strands through your fabric. So if you're having a hard time with that, then do 3 strands and double it over. It'll be so much easier to pull through your fabric. So if that's a struggle, then fix it. There's easy fixes. You could also use fewer strands if you wanted. I like doing a basket weave with 6 strands because I like how it looks. So there's the middle. I'm gonna put this middle one in. Because we're changing the angle again right there. So I kind of want to be aware of that because these 2 at the bottom, this stitch and the next one will be really close together at the bottom. 2 here. I quit counting. I don't know. I was trying to pay attention to how close they were together, but I think I gave up. Yeah, the wind or the rain has already calmed down. Like it's still raining, but it's not like thunder and lightning and blowing. Do I want to do 1 there or 2? I think 1. Okay, also, I would very much recommend starting on this end versus up at the top, because if you can't finish this all in one day, which is very possible to not finish it in one day, like you can start it and then we can do all of the flowers around it and then you can come back and finish the cornucopia another day and it will be fine. So if you don't think you're going to finish it all in one sitting, which I probably wouldn't, then start at the bottom and work your way to the top. Do this middle. I'm just going to do 1 more in here, I think. Okay. Now, I would also go and do your, what's it called? Your satin stitch, like do it all the way up. I'm going to do another row, but I'm going to do this first and then I'll do it again. Okay, but after you get those stitches, next we're going to come in with our basket weave. This is where it starts to become fun. So I'm going to do 2 stitches in this space. So we want them at like 1/3 and 1/3. 1/3 and 2/3, or however you want. So we want this divided in thirds. So I'm going to come up kind of under there. I snagged some of that thread. So I'm going to kind of come up underneath. And what we're going to do is we're going to weave around these stitches. So we're going to go over 2 and then under 1. See, I shouldn't have counted. I gave you the wrong thing. I gave you the wrong information. Now, these are pretty close together, so it's going to be a little bit harder. If you do them a little further apart, you'll have just a looser weave, which is fine, but it'll be a little bit easier. So if you want to challenge, keep these close together. If you don't want so much of a challenge, then make them further apart. So I'm going to go under this first one just because, and I'm going to go over 2 stitches. You can see them right here, 1, 2. Now you can pull it through. Whoops, sorry. Let me back this away just a little bit and zoom in. Sorry. My phone holder is needing to be replaced. Okay, it's kind of in my way. All right, so I'm gonna go, I went under that first one, over the next 2, and then under this next one. So I'm doing the same thing as I did with the vines. I'm pushing with one of my fingers, I'm pushing up from the back to kind of help my needle get around those stitches, okay? You wanna be really careful you're not snagging anything. I'll show you a couple tips in a minute, but first I just wanna show you what we're doing. So we're gonna go over 2, so we've got 1, 2, and then under 1. And when I'm going up, I'm pushing up from the back. We'll fix this in a minute. Just the only way you can do it this way is if you don't snag any threads. If you snag any threads, then you're gonna have issues fixing this. So we're gonna go over 2, under 1, over 2, under 1. Something else, here's a tip. If you are having a hard time and you keep snagging these threads, you can try going through with the eye of your needle. So I went over 2 and then under 1. I personally don't like doing this, but I know other people that do, and it works really well for them. You're less likely to snag it because it's a blunt end versus the sharp end of the needle. So if you need to do that, you totally can. I kind of move my needle and make sure I haven't grabbed any thread. You'd know if you grabbed thread, like it'll catch and not let you move your needle freely like that. If your needle can move freely, you haven't grabbed any threads. Over 2, under 1. Okay. Oh, I was gonna weave with the dark brown. You guys didn't remind me. Okay, I forgot. You could do all of your satin stitch. That was a big one. And then go back with your dark brown and weave it through if you want. But I've already started this and I'm not gonna go back now. Okay, so I'm just gonna move this up so that it creates that arc like we were working with. Okay, and then we're gonna put our needle down and then we're gonna go back to the other side and do the next one. So we're gonna divide what's left in half. We're gonna come up and now we're gonna go under different stitches. So we're gonna go over 2 and then under 1. So we're going under a different strand than we did on the top one. This row will get a little bit harder. Okay, so we're still gonna go over 2, under 1, but it's gonna be a different one. We went under this one for the first row, but this row we're gonna do under this one. It's gonna be harder because we have less space to work with, so you gotta be really patient. Okay, so we're gonna go over, over, under, over, over, under, over, over. I feel like I got off somewhere. Over, over, under, over, over, under, over, over, under. You could also just go every other one. I just wanted this basket to look a little bit more unique. So if the over, over, under is not working, just go over, under, and then your next row, you'll do it the opposite. So wherever you went over, you'll go under. Did that make sense? I can show you on the next one if you want. Okay, so there's our next row. So I'm gonna move this up a little. And then I'm gonna go down. Look how cute it is. Okay, I am just gonna fill in just this tiny section here, but I'm just gonna do a satin stitch. I'm not gonna try and weave around it because I'm not that worried about it. It's just this small section that I want filled in, but I didn't want a basket weave around it because it'll be such small stitches. Okay, I'm gonna do the next section and I'll do it over, under, but somebody remind me to get out my dark brown. I'll do it with the dark brown. If I start using the light brown again on the weaving part, somebody stop me. Okay, I'm gonna just leave this connected. Now, I am gonna stitch around this. Well, do we want to stitch that on top of the basket weave? Which would be easier? Sorry, I'm thinking. I was gonna do a split stitch. That will be fine on top of the basket weave. Okay, I'm gonna stitch the basket weave under it and just, I lost my pen. Hold on, I need my pen. I usually keep one in my bag over here, but I took it to my desk for some reason. Okay, so I'm gonna just do the basket weave. And then I'll stitch the stem over the top. Okay, let's do it. Now, I don't like to come up in these stitches that I've already created, so I'm gonna start on the left and go down on the right. So if I was holding this in my hand, I would turn it around, but this is where we're at. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna use those same holes. I'm gonna create some guides. But I don't wanna come up in these stitches from the row below. I feel like my table is so wobbly today. Do you want to see it with a looser weave? Maybe I'll do that too, so you can see the difference. So I'm gonna leave bigger gaps, just so you can see what it looks like. Like obvious gaps, which is really great if you're just gonna go over, under, instead of going like over 2, under 2, or over 2, under 1. It works really, really great to have bigger gaps if you're gonna go every other one. So this is actually a good idea. That was a fairly large gap, but that's okay. Because it does look a little different if you have bigger spaces. I probably should have done this one first because it's a little bit more beginner friendly, but hindsight is 20/20, friends. Okay. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna leave this open and just satin stitch in there after I do my basket weave. So let me tie this off and we'll get out the darker color. And then that did not tie. Okay. Now in these smaller sections, like this one is a little bit skinnier, you're only gonna be able to get one weave through there, where this one we could do 2. We could probably do 2 on this one as well, but this one, like, we'll only be able to get one weave through there. So keep that in mind as you're working as well. Like if you can't fit 2, it's fine to just do 1, because you'll just move on to the next section. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strands. Now, these are all scrap pieces, and so they've been pulled apart. Hold on, let me thread this and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. Dang, man. Okay, so do you see how they're like, they're kind of separated, where if you just take it off the skein, they're like twisted together. There's not like, you don't have thread, like loose threads. This is twisted, this is not. So that's why I like using straight from the skein where it's still all twisted together, because I think it looks better on a basket weave. But all right, come up on the end and we'll go every other one. So under, over, under. And usually I can do, the other one I could only do it one at a time, but usually if they're a little bit further apart, I can go over, under a few times before I need to like pull my needle through. Okay. We want to get that. See, I needed another stitch in there. Those are too far apart. And do you see how it kind of starts to like pull apart? You have that like one loose one. That's why we want the straight from the skein. Okay, I'm gonna go down there and then I'm gonna go back and do it again. Don't pull this too tight if it's like not sitting where you want it to. If you do it looser, you do have to do these a little closer together, because otherwise it won't fill the space, which is also fine, like if it's more open weave. But anyway, so this one we went over, so now this time we're gonna go under it. So we're gonna go the opposite end, or the opposite way. So if the row above is under, then we're gonna go over, and if it's over, we're gonna go under. Oh, I got messed up somewhere. Over, under. Oh, see, I went under twice. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, so I'm gonna go over twice. Shoot, I didn't pay attention. Redo it. If you end up with something like this, take it out and redo it. I'm like, what did I do? What did I do? I messed up. That's what I did. Got in a hurry. Okay, so get those a little closer together and then go down. I'm gonna do one more. I don't have a stitch to go under here. I'm just gonna snag just a little bit of that. I can't go all the way under, but pull that through and then we'll go. See, these are really close together. They're harder to weave around. Okay. It would look better if I didn't have that big gap and if I had done a few more stitches in here, but it makes a little bit more of a checkerboard. But like up here, it looks really good. So anyways, I prefer this just because I think it's a fun basket, but two colors or one color, looser or tighter weave, kind of do what you want. Okay, so if you're doing this, if you're using the same holes when you stitch from here to here, you won't need a stitch in between. But if you have kind of a big gap, or if this is looking funny, then go ahead and do a stem stitch like we did here. Just keep your loop on the outside of your arc, But I'm gonna take this out and redo it. I'll take a picture first and post it to my story so that it can be saved. But whatever weave you decide to do, it will be great. Let me know if you have questions, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Okay, I'm gonna work on this off camera and let me know how it goes. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Bye.